Good afternoon everyone and welcome to the Ashburton District Council meeting for Wednesday the 25th of February. I'd like to welcome councillors, staff, media and those watching from home. First of all, I would like to call for apologies, and we are all here, so that is good. Next, any extraordinary business, and I haven't heard of any. So no, and any declarations of interest? None. Thank you very much. Okay, next we will move on to the confirmation of the minutes. So item number 4 of the council meeting from the 4th of February, and that is on page 3, and I will go through that. So please let me know if there's any changes to be made on page 3, page 4, page 5 or page 6. Can I get someone who would like to move that they be taken as read and confirmed? Councillor Cameron, and a seconder, Councillor Gilkinson, sorry. I'll put that motion. All those in favour, aye. Against, no. Carried. Thank you very much. We now have the minutes from Audit, Risk and Finance Committee meeting from the 11th of February, and that is on page 7. So first of all, I'd like a mover and a seconder that we receive those minutes. Councillor Todd, seconded Councillor Cameron. All those in favour, aye. Against, no. Carried. Thank you. There are 3 recommendations there. So the first one is the dividend policy and capital investment expectations. Someone to move that, please?
I'd like to move that, please.
Councillor Cameron, thank you. And a seconder, Councillor Ellis. Any discussion? No, I'll put that motion. All those in favour, aye. Against, no. Carried, thank you. Then we have the ACL draft statement of expectation. We have a recommendation there.
I'd like to move that,
You'd
please.
like to move that, thank you. And a seconder, Councillor Moffat. Any discussion on that? No, I'll put that motion. All those in favour? Against? Carried, thank you. And then the last one, we have the Audit New Zealand engagement letter for 2026, 27 and 28. Do I have a mover for that? Councillor Todd and Councillor Maxwell. Any discussion on that? No, I'll put the motion. All those in favour, aye. Against? Carried. Thank you very much. Next, we have the minutes from the Three Waters Committee, also held on the 11th of February. And I'd like a mover to say that we received these minutes. Councillor Ellis. Councillor Gilkinson. Any discussion? No. Put the motion. All those in favour, aye. Against? Carried. Thank you.
Excuse me,
yes.
May I ask a question?
Yes.
On the Methven Community Board live streaming, and there's a trial for a year, what is a cost associated with that, or is that already part of the overhead? Is there an additional cost?
I'll go through to Tony, if you can answer that. I think it was around about $1,000 from memory, but...
Per meeting or per year?
Tony, yes.
Thank you, through the chair. So it's about $1,000 in total. We're using the existing comms resource that are going up, and we're using a simple iPhone to do the recording, which we already had and is purchased.
Thank you, Tony.
Councillor Hooper.
Thank you. Yeah, I also had that highlighted. Was that something that's been sort of demanded, Tony, or has there been some feedback about that from the residents?
Less of a demand from the feedback from the residents, but certainly the community board members themselves are interested and keen to have a trial to see how the community does receive it.
Thank you. All good, Tony? Yep. Just like a mover and a seconder to say that we received those minutes. Councillor Gilkison, Councillor Moffat. Any discussion? No. All those in favour, aye. Against, carried. Thank you very much. Right. We're getting into reports now, and item number 8, we have the mid-year performance report. So this is non-financial performance report. So we have Mark, Emily and Tony. And that item 8 is on page 16 with the report starting on page 19. Any questions of that, of the officers? Councillor Cameron.
Thank you, and thank you for the report. I just want to make sure I understand it. So when I look at drinking water, we're on track for about 78% of the business and off track for 22%. Is that how I read it?
Thanks through the chair. Yes, that's correct.
So how do I know what we're off track for?
So if you scroll down further to the tables, you'll see little symbols, and where there's arrows are the ones that are off track, or crosses.
So I'm down there at bacterial measures and protozoa measures. Is that the table?
Page 26.
Page 26.
Page 26, yeah.
Oh, on the,
And the shaded column, so that's the 25, 26.
okay, thank you. Ta.
Any other questions from that report? Councillor Gilkison.
Hello. Sorry, I'm just finding the page. I did some scrolling, but it's around near the top and it's got utilisation. So performance by dimension of service. Utilisation, page 22, is primarily off track. What does that mean? Utilisation of what? Because when I've read the report, it looks like EA and the art gallery are well utilised. What isn't utilised?
So the utilisation one, on page 21, there's examples of what makes up that description. So it's, for example, occupancy rates of commercial tenancies and the number of visitors at our recreation facilities. I'm wondering if I'd have to go look through the table to work it out. But I want... yeah, I'll come back to you with the answer and have a look.
Okay.
Thank you.
Councillor Cameron.
Economic development, am I allowed to do this? I'm well down. I'm on page
Just
37.
tell us what page.
37. Economic development and commercial activities. Council builds relationships and collaborates with all sectors in the business community, and we haven't achieved that, or we've been flat. We wanted 90% and we're 87%. How do we measure that?
That's through the resident survey. So that's the half-year result at this point.
So the resident survey goes out to businesses as well as people, like
so it's,
non-businesses. I thought it was just a random.
No, so there's 800 measured across the district.
So you've got
during the
X
whole
amount
year.
in the residents.
So some of those might be businesses, some of them will be residents, a mix. So
you know that you're targeting X amount of businesses when you send out the resident survey?
No. So it's based on electoral roll. So it's a random survey based on the electoral roll. Yep.
So I wonder, and this is, if you're not targeting businesses, then this is just serendipitous, really, finding this thing. If you're just sending them out you could, by fortune or whatever, end up with 800 residents that work at various, not at businesses, but residents. So is this an actual measure?
Well, it's the measure that we've agreed through the LTP, and it's essentially a resident satisfaction level. So it's not a business satisfaction level; it's a resident satisfaction level of that particular topic.
So council collaborates with all sectors in the business community is not a business, because I would have thought a business person would have done. I'm not trying to be argumentative.
No, we're measuring it through the resident survey. at the
Yeah,
moment.
so I think that perhaps needs review at some stage. And I had another question, if I may. Can I ask another question? Or
Yes,
shall I
you
hang
can.
up? There's
Yeah,
no one
no,
after
you
me.
can ask another
Page
question.
39, we're looking at parks and open spaces. And we've got here, we provide residents with accessible blah, blah, blah. And we're 90%, we want 95%, and we expect an improvement to 92% once it's thrown very fine detail of statistics to get there. And we purposely, I recall, because I didn't like it, that's why I recall it, we went out to Strohan Fields, which is out at Tynwald, am I right? Strohan Fields is the development,
Yep. Trevor's.
Trevor's
Oh,
Road.
Trevor's Road.
Well, I'm going to use the example out at Tynwald, and we chose an area that was recommended by the developer and perhaps by some other people, and it was outside the 400 metres for everybody in that area. So this is not achievable in some ways then.
And this is part of our district plan, isn't it?
And the target is 95% across the year.
So we're assuming that's less than 5%.
That's right. And last year's result was 90 rather than 95, and this year is also tracking at 90, but we think it might lift. So
we're
not quite 95, but very high.
So when we do more targeting, in inverted commas, we'll have to make sure we target some Strohan Field people to alter to make sure that we incorporate that view.
Your light's gone off.
No, we don't target anyone in particular. This is as measured by the, in fact, this particular measure, how do we measure it? Because that's presumably a known calculation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Emily?
Yeah, thanks through the chair. Just to answer Councillor Gilkinson's question before, the two measures in utilisation that are off track relate to in drinking water, so reduction in average consumption per resident per day, and reduction in real water loss from the reticulated systems.
And the question around the 400 metres, so that's measured, because that's a stipulation of our district plan, so that's our own measure.
Thank you through the chair. Yes, it is our own measure. It's driven out of the open spaces strategy.
Oh, okay.
And so it's a calculation based on the urban area and what percentage of how many hectares of parks or open spaces we have within an urban area to create the percentage.
Yeah, thank you. Go to questions, Councillor Everest.
Just a question on page 35, waste reduction and recovery. The wording says a massive drop in volume of glass collected. What are we putting that down to? You also say later on that it relates to a reduction in the overall in the country, but are we actually putting glass in the bin is the red bin, and not putting it in glass recovery?
I'll go to Neil McCann.
Yeah, through the chair, it seems to be an observation across the country that there's less glass being used and more plastic containers. That's what we can put it down to. Yeah.
So subsequent to that, is waste going down at all?
Not significantly. It sort of has its ups and downs, but not significantly trending that way at the moment. Hopefully once the new curbside collection comes, we may see some reduction with the FOGO being
It was to be my
diverted.
next comment. Thank you.
Councillor Hooper.
Thank you. Has the 25-26 year finished, as far as the results on that go? No. When it finishes when?
June 30.
Thank you. I see we're at 47% for our swimming pool fences inspections. Is that just because of the rubbish summer we had and nobody's swimming, or?
Which page was that on, Councillor Hooper?
35, 40, 43.
43, thank you. Who would?
Yeah.
Sorry, Ian.
The measure is again it's an update figure for the mid-year, and the staff will have been prioritising over the summer. So just because it looks behind at the time of this measure doesn't mean that we won't hit our target by the end.
Councillor Wilson.
Page 33, transportation. I note that we haven't got to the sealed local road network was being maintained. We haven't got to those reseals. Are we going to? That's obviously there's more going to be done between the end of the season. And do you think we'll get close to what we hope to get? Or
Yes, we are on schedule to. Yes.
yep, that's good.
Councillor Gilkerson.
Just page 45, looking at alcohol licensing services. So, medium and high risk license premises monitored each year, you're at 35%. There is a comment saying that you have a plan to get to them all, but that's what, 65% in a few months? What's happened there, and is it realistic?
Ian?
Yes, through the chair, I would, as I understand it, yes, there is a plan to be put in place to meet that target. We would generally expect to be 50% at this time of the year, but it really depends on resourcing, including our stakeholder partners and their availability to be able to do those monitoring inspections. It's sometimes a little bit tricky to coordinate all of those things, but I can rest assured that there will be attention put on that target for the rest of the financial year to achieve the target, or at least just get as close as we can to it.
Was that stakeholders like the police?
Yes. Yeah, health and police.
Yep.
Thank you. Any further questions on the report? No, doesn't look like it. Thank you. So we have a recommendation there, which is on page 16, that we receive the mid-year non-financial performance report for 25-26. Councillor Hooper, would you like to move?
Thank you.
Yep. Councillor Everest, second. Any discussion? No. I'll put the motion. All those in favour, aye. Against? No. Carried. Thank you. Next, we have the Open Spaces Bylaw 2016, which we will be adopting for public consultation. This is on page 47. And welcome up Ian Soper and Richard Maybon, as well as Mark. Any questions for the officers? Councillor Cameron.
When I read the bylaw, it's got and water bodies. Have water bodies not been included in the bylaw in the past?
What we're doing here, we had a reference to natural water bodies, and then we realised that in fact there were some non-natural water bodies, man-made water bodies that needed to be included. So that's why that change is highlighted.
So does that? Are you meaning Lake Hood? Is that what you mean? Or
The likes of Lake Hood, yes.
okay, thank you. Okay, I'll.
Tony, I see your light's on, but is that... Oh, okay, sorry. That probably leads on to my question on page 62 and 8.1.8, operate any ship. And I read down the definition of ship, but is ship the correct word? Because it's talking about any water in any open space.
We simply use the term ship because that's the legislative term.
Is it?
And,
okay.
and in the relevant legislation it covers all manner of things much less grand than a ship. I had the same mental picture of Britannia sitting in Lake Hood that you possibly had.
Yeah, exactly. Councillor Hooper.
Thank you. Yeah, I had 8.1.8 highlighted as well. Have we got no ship signs, and does that include model boats, like on the Domain Pond? Are you allowed to fire at a model boat on the Domain Pond, or is that excluded because of that?
The clause is framed that we would erect signs if we were wanting to prevent watercraft from being on the body of water. I don't know what Ian's feelings are on the regulation of model boats, but the way the bylaw is framed, we would require signage if we wanted to keep watercraft out of any body of water. Have we got the signs printed now? Well, we're only consulting on a bylaw, so that would be a little bit presumptuous, but in the fullness of time we will need to have some kind of preparedness to be able to enforce this.
Happy with that, Councillor Hooper? Councillor Cameron?
Thank you. Thanks for this. When we look at handbills, so if you use me as an example doing my campaigning around the county, does that mean I'm not allowed to hand out promotional material as I walk through the domain or at the edge of the domain? Is that, or at Lakewood or anywhere? Is that what? That is page, I don't know, I moved on to sporting, but that was up there. Handbills were in there somewhere. Earlier on. I'm going to be on 65 next up, taking my thing. We talked about handbills in there.
Ian, would you like to answer?
Through the chair, look, I believe that's correct, that it's the handbills that get and can become a public annoyance in what is in essence a place of serenity and calmness.
Okay, so it's a litter thing essentially, because like they have park runs around the domain and there's signs on the whatever saying park run this Saturday, or they have events. Is this going to be put things in the way of people taking advantage of the beautiful space that is the domain or Lakewood or wherever they want to go?
No, through the chair, this is more for the unsolicited handouts as opposed to an event or an occasion directive signage.
Okay, thank you. And I have one more question, please. Open spaces, page 65, permission for any organised event, blah, 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 on all the areas. So if we go for like a cricket, say we've got the over 70s cricket people out there now, they had to come to open spaces to get consent to run their matches. You know, got the World Cup over 70s.
Through the chair, that's correct. It's an event per se. It is run under the guise of the cricket, who do have a lease on the area, but it's about informing that there is a formal event there on a weekend, which then precludes public utilisation.
Sure. And do they pay for that?
Through the chair, if it's constituted under the Mid-Canterbury Cricket, then it would be under their realm. If it was a separate standalone event, then yes, they would pay.
Okay. So if I was going to have a family reunion at the barbecue area, I let you, that's an organised event, do I let you know, or how does that work for normal?
That's just a casual event. That
was organised, a formal organised thing.
Through the chair, it would be formal within the group that we're attending. You might have shared that information, but you wouldn't be required to make a formal booking unless you wanted to, for instance, hire out the picnic ground in its entirety, and in that case then it would be.
Okay, so for example, if we go to Lakewood and they've got rowing regattas and skiing events out there, they come to the council and get consent to do that?
That is correct. The property department are taking the bookings for those waterborne activities at Lakewood.
Has that happened in the past? They've come to the council to get consent?
No, through the chair it hasn't. It's only since the council's direct involvement with the lake for the last year.
Okay, Councillor Maxwell.
Just while we're on organised events on page 65, we've got, there's quite a section there all highlighted in yellow, but I wondered whether it was worth at one of those points or as another bullet point. We have nowhere that specifies timeframes. So we know that if you want to close a road, I think it's 42 days. If you want to have an event, it's supposedly a certain date. But I think that as a bylaw, we should be chucking in a hard and fast date so that if a person is organising an event and they don't meet that hard and fast date, the bylaw clearly states they have to.
Through the chair, that's certainly not something that we considered, and our custom and practice has been that some people do tend to leave bookings until the last minute, and if there is no other booking for a specified area at that point in time, then we allow it. So we haven't got a hard and fast ruling in here for events on green space.
I think it's long overdue.
Councillor Todd.
Thank you. Just on 10.2,
just the word devices. I think it's got a C in it, not an S. Or just a wee spelling in there.
Page 63.
Yep.
Yep.
Thank you.
Councillor Ebrist.
Just in response to Councillor Cameron's question/statement, there was a booking system at the lake. It was run by the Aquatic Trust, Brian Donaldson and others, and so it's been in effect since it started and since it's now gone to council.
Thank you. Okay, so there is I don't think there's any further questions. There is a motion there on page 47. Sorry, page 48. Do I have a mover for that? Councillor Gilkerson, seconded. Councillor Todd. Any debate? Thank you. Councillor Cameron.
I'm in support of sending this out for review and consideration by the community. I just have this question with regards to, are we taking on more than we can chew when we want all these consents? Because implicit in that is that is it implicit, and perhaps it's a question, and I've missed my boat, that we are responsible for health and safety issues surrounding that? And that's my only question I'm thinking of then. Is that a big workload and a big job for us, specifically with water areas and things? Essentially, that was my only comment. But I support.
Thank you. Councillor Maxwell.
I support the bylaw in whole, other than my other comment that I think it needs a timeline.
Yep. And this will go out for consultation. Any further speakers for or against? If not, I'll put the motion. All those in favour, aye. Against? Carried. Thank you. And next we have the draft Open Spaces Strategy 2026 for public consultation. And this is on page 96. And we've got Ian, Tiaba and Mark up there again. Any questions on the strategy? And again, this will go out for public consultation. Nope. Okay, so the motion is that we approve the draft Open Spaces Strategy for public consultation from the 4th of March to the 7th of April 2026. Do I have a mover for that, please? Councillor Maxwell. Seconder. Councillor Todd. Any debate? No, I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Aye. Okay, so carried. Thank you. Item number 11 is the Brothel Location Bylaw 2016 adopt draft for public consultation, and this is on page 154. Tiaba, Mark and Ian. So details are there, and like the other two recommendations, we've had workshops on these. Is there any questions from this? Councillor Todd.
Thank you. I suppose the only question I've got is the small changes that we're making, does that warrant a consultation?
Who would like to answer that? Tiaba?
Through the chair, we are required by law to consult on the bylaw whenever we are reviewing it, and any changes we make, or even if we don't make any changes, we are required by law to consult on it.
Councillor Cameron.
Do the bylaws and the strategy go out together in the same envelope or the same way for consultation, or are they all just online and people? How are we engaging consultation?
The same time frame in terms of engaging on them, they'll be separately available on the website, but individuals will be able to submit on one or all three.
All online.
It'll be all set up online, and there will be some paper copies of them available.
Available downstairs or something.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions? No. Would someone like to move that recommendation? Councillor Hooper? Councillor Maxwell seconded. Any speakers for or against? Something we have to do. I'll put the motion. All those in favour, aye. Against, no. Carried. Thank you. Item number 12 is the local governance statement for 2025-2028. We've got Mel and Tanya here. This is on page 174, and this is legislation. Councillors, any questions of the statement? Is this just available on the website, or do you print copies and leave those downstairs?
Just available on the website.
Okay, yeah. Thank you. Councillor Cameron.
Thanks, Liz. Thanks, Mayor Liz. Who would read, who would access a statement? Who looks at it?
Through the chair, I can't answer that. It's on our governance page on our website, so I guess if someone was looking into how council is run through our website, potentially they'll download it and read it.
Thank you.
And just a question from me. So the appointments to the committees, sometimes we will appoint councillors midway through the term, so that obviously gets updated, and that information's available if that's the case.
Yeah, this document itself is sort of a point-in-time document, so
Okay.
it's correct as at the time it's adopted by council, and we're only obligated to update it every 3 years. So otherwise we bring it back to you. So we wouldn't be updating it through the term of the council.
I see. Yeah. But I guess from my point of view, the appointments to committees, etc., that is updated on another page that's on the council website as well, isn't it?
Yes.
Yep. Good. Thank you. Any other questions on that? There's a lot of information there about all our plans, lists, all the bylaws, strategies. Yep. I'm happy to move.
Oh, can I just...
Oh, sorry. Councillor Gilkerson.
Just my name is spelt wrong on page 192. So if you just maybe go through them all and check that you didn't shove an extra N in there.
Apologies, we'll tidy that up.
Thanks for bringing that up. So the recommendation there is that council receives and publishes the local governance statement once we've amended some names. I'm happy to move that. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Moffat. Any discussion?
Yes. I think it shows the amount of policy that are in place. So when you said any questions on it, you could go down a rabbit hole and look at this policy. It's everything that council does. So I think
that's right.
When you look through it, you go into some of the links, and there's huge documents behind it. So it's probably the question on it's very hard because there's so much stuff there.
Yeah. Okay, I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Against? No, carried. Thank you. Gosh, we are racing through this, aren't we? Righto, Mayor's report on page 216, and there is a couple of recommendations in there. I'll take questions first and then go through the
I was going to move the recommendation on the Biodiversity Advisory Group, Deputy Mayor Wilson. But I can...
Yes, I have one question on that, if that's all right. And I guess this will go to Tanya. If Councillor Wilson's unavailable to go to that meeting, can we appoint an alternative from the biodiversity members, or our councillor members that are on the biodiversity committee?
It's a good question. I think it would be the same as any other committee where we can't formally send someone along. We'd need to check with the actual terms of that committee to group to understand, but I would assume it would be fine.
Yeah.
But we can follow that up if you like.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be good, thank you. Councillor Cameron?
Can I ask a question on the second recommendation then, please, Mayor Liz, or how do you want to do it?
But we'll put the recommendation forward first.
Okay.
Councillor Moffat, did you have a question on that?
I have a question
recommendation?
later on with the super government, the local government.
Oh, okay. We'll come to that in a minute.
Okay.
So, is there someone that would? So, Councillor Cameron, you move that Councillor Wilson be appointed to the Central Canterbury Biodiversity Advisory Group. Do I have a seconder for that?
Oh, someone.
There's a lot of lights on. Councillor Cameron, you'll have to turn your light off. So, Councillor Gilkison, you're seconding that? Yep. Okay. Any discussion on that? No, I'll put the motion. All those in favour, aye. Okay, it's carried. Thank you. What was your question? I'm sorry.
Regarding the second recommendation, that we support the Remuneration Authority's proposal to amend the clauses. Can I ask a question on that?
Yes, you can. Yep.
I followed the links and looked at that, and it looks to me like we'd be supporting people coming from Queenstown that are on this council. And that is particularly alarming. In the last year, we only really had an election in one of the regions, like we had the West and the East, because of your election as Mayor, Madam Chair. There was no election, and I'm thinking if people are going to put their name forward in Whangarei or Kaitaia or Invercargill to stand on the Ashburton District Council, is the ratepayer going to be paying for their travel and all their overheads related to that? That's my question.
Tanya, do you have an answer?
Yeah, through the chair. What this is the Remuneration Authority has asked for feedback from councils about whether they'd support a change to the ongoing determinations around reimbursement for elected member travel, particularly in home security allowance and childcare for those who live outside the district. Even if it went into the annual determination, council still has to change its elected member remuneration policy to give effect to it anyway. So while you may not support this, it may come through the determination anyway, and then you'll have to make a decision if you want to update your policy to include it.
Okay.
So it's not a given that it will happen. It's the council's decision as to whether it wants to allow that to happen through its policy.
Okay, so can I ask an additional question related to that answer?
Yeah.
Will we be advised through the chair that if the Remuneration Authority, if it is accepted by all the councils and it does come through, will we be advised that then we need to, if we choose to, review the local policy? We will be.
Tanya?
Yeah, through the chair. So every year when that determination gets updated, we do update councillors with the content and any particular changes. So at that point, we can ask you if you'd like to update the policy, noting the policy is on a 3-year review cycle and it's just been reviewed. So.
Can I amend the recommendation now, or do I do that later? I'm just going to put in does not support. That's all I was going to alter it with. And I'd seek a seconder for that. Is that a time to do that?
Is that... We can do that now, or do we put the motion as is, and if it's lost, then it's lost?
I can move the motion.
I'm just looking at Tanya. Until the Remuneration Authority makes their ruling, it's a moot point, isn't it?
Well, there's a recommendation in the Mayor's report, though, and I don't want to move. I don't want to accept that recommendation.
So we've been asked if we want to provide feedback, so that if councillors were to support this particular recommendation, we'd go back to the remuneration and say, council supported this change. If you decide to change that particular resolution, then we'd give the opposite feedback, or we can decide to give no feedback if that's the will of council.
I'd like to make an additional motion that Ashburton District Council does not support the Remuneration Authority's proposal to amend clauses of the local government members' determination.
Do I have a seconder for that? Councillor Hooper? Yep. Okay, any discussion? I'll put that motion. All those in favour? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 6. Put your hands up again, sorry. Yeah, no. Okay. That's one. Thank you. So that's carried. So the motion is we do not support that. Thank you. Councillor Moffat, back to your question on...
On page 217, talking about the Super Local 26 local government conference later this year, do officers have any remits in mind that they're working on that would possibly go to that AGM?
Hamish?
It's not so much that officers have remits in mind. We have a process where we ask councillors if they would like to submit remits. So that process is coming shortly.
So, through the chair, so what we're doing through this Mayor's report is asking councillors to consider whether there's any remits, and then the next Mayor's report will do what we typically do every year, which is actually formally request those remits. So, just giving you a bit of time to think about it before we formally have to submit any remits.
So in the past, I think Ashburton Council, District Council has only, or what I can remember, has put one remit in, and that was around driver licensing. And so, and polystyrene, yes. And we had to get support from other councils. And then at the AGM of LGNZ, which is held at the morning of the first day of conference, the remits are put and voted on by the rest of the LGNZ members. But if councillors have any ideas in mind, and we could maybe, Tanya, possibly circulate some remits that have gone through in the past, just to give people an idea of what that involves. But if you have something, and it's usually not just a district focus, it's something that's more nationwide.
Madam Chair, just remind councillors on the criteria, those 4 criteria on page 217, if you do have remits in mind, those need to be true before the LGNZ would accept a remit, and one of them is, as Mayor Liz refers to, it has to affect the whole of local government in New Zealand, not just us, or not even a particular sector of local government.
Thank you, Councillor Ellis.
Thank you. And can we resubmit a remit that's like KiwiSaver? It's been talked about every time, but if someone doesn't put the remit through, it'll get forgotten again, and those sorts of things. Can you sort of keep just pushing the same old barrel, I suppose, in the hope that something might change?
You can, and from the point of view of putting it up, if LGNZ have taken action on a remit that was passed historically and got an answer to say not happening from the government or some other agency and that makes the decision, then they may not accept the remit necessarily, but it's not wrong for the council to raise it and to get in that process if it's important to you.
And I think at the past AGM, we were given an update on the previous remits and their progress. So I think that information's probably available as well. But KiwiSaver has come up in the past. Yep. Are there any other questions on my report? No. I'll move that my report is received. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Ellis. Any discussion? Right. All those in favour? Aye. Against? No. Carried. Thank you. Now move into public excluded. So if there is someone that could move. Councillor. Thank you. Seconder. Councillor Cameron. All those in favour? Aye. Against? No. Carried. Thanks, Jono.